Welcome to the Lawyers Talk Show on TASCTV, the voice of the Turkish American community. My name is Erol Gülistan, and I'm an attorney in New Jersey. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our first show 2 weeks ago. The feedback was terrific. The turnout was great, and I want to thank the viewers who tuned in. If anyone has any questions for our guest, either today or on future shows, feel free to submit them on YouTube under the live chat feature, where the show is also being streamed. We start off today's show by remembering the brotherly and sisterly relations between the people of the United States, Turkey, and Mexico on behalf of the Turkish American community. In the words of Alexander the Great, remember upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. Our guest today is technology entrepreneur, Mr. Luis Alfonso Escobedo, who is CEO of New Jersey Drone Academy, Bike Technology Solutions, AgroBite, SolarG, Good as Health, and is vice president of Aerospec Technologies, and his companies operate all across the globe. Mr. Escobedo is highly versed in drone technologies, renewable energies, including solar panels, wind turbines. He's also national coordinator for Drones for Mexico versus COVID-19, a network to combat coronavirus from the air, using drones for disinfection, patrolling and delivering resources in Mexico. He is responsible for the development of utility scale projects, both solar and wind, customer prospecting through agreements and social programs with different entities, public and private. And he also does energy consultant work for customers, companies, and governmental entities. One of his companies utilizes the world's first autonomous drone app designed for solar panel inspection. Mr. Escobedo has appeared on numerous media outlets, including RT News, El Universal, and Entrepreneur. Thank you for being on the show, and welcome.
Thank you, Errol. Thank you a lot for your invitation to the show. I'm very honored to be one of your guests. I've been reading through your work and this Turkish American channel, so it's an honor for me to be one of your first guests.
You're welcome, and I'm honored for having you on the show. Mr. Escobedo, what was it like growing up in Mexico?
Well, I grew up in Mexico City. I was raised in a middle class family. In a traditional family, mom, dad,
Yes.
sister. I had the privilege to go to private schools. So it was a safe environment, it was a happy environment. I think that I had a very happy childhood.
Yes. And Mexico is a beautiful country. I've had the pleasure of visiting a few times in my lifetime, and I would definitely like to visit again. So
yes, definitely, it's a beautiful country. People they are very hospitable, and the food is amazing. The weather, there are many amazing things about Mexico.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned food. What would you say is your favorite food item from Mexico?
Well, you can never go wrong with tacos, so tacos, there are so many different ways of preparing tacos, so I'll go with tacos as a generality, but yeah.
Mexico, along with US and Turkey, are wonderful destinations for both business and tourism. And some people may already know about, US and Mexico, for example, and some people still may not know about the potential in Turkey, both for business and for tourism. But if you haven't been there, I would certainly encourage you to check it out at some point in the future.
Yes, totally, yeah.
And
Turkey is one of my destinations that I want to go soon. You know, I need to go to Cappadocia. I really need to go and take some aerial photography in this amazing place, and of course I need to go to Istanbul. I know it's a busy city. I have watched some movies from Turkish German film director Fatih Akin. I don't know if you know him. I really love the Turkish culture, and I know that food also is amazing over there.
Yes, and thank you for that, Mr. Escobedo. Now, switching on to a little bit more of business track, how many companies do you have?
I have some startups. The first one I founded Solargy Renewable Energy back in 2011. So that was the first one that was focused in solar energy in rooftop and in commercial. Now with that company, I am developing some small scale solar farms, distributed energy solar farms back in Mexico, and that's one of the things that I want to develop here in New Jersey, since New Jersey is a very favorable state for solar energy. So that was the first one. Then I met my today's partner, Lance Lee, and with him we founded Aerospec Mexico. I partnered with him in 2018. He's the CEO and founder of Aerospec Technologies, which is a company that does aerial thermography using drones and thermal camera and artificial intelligence software. So that was like the second one. Then I founded Agrobite. With Agrobite is the same thing. We use drones for agricultural purposes, having the same basis as Aerospec. You know, instead of using thermal cameras here, we use multispectral cameras, and we also use spraying drones. And we did like the operations and maintenance of a crop instead of a solar farm. Then I founded the startup Good as Health, which is focused on healthy lifestyle. Here we develop weekly meal plans. Well, they are designed by nutritionists, and then they are prepared. They are prepared by chefs. So we standardize the recipes with all the nutritional facts, you know, with several amount of calories, proteins, and then these weekly meal plans, they can be prepared by several healthy restaurants. So the idea is to, at some point, teach the people how to have a better food consumption, you know. We promote organic, we promote vegan food, not because the meat is a bad thing, but we need to reduce at some point the meat consumption, you know, to start using meat just as an ingredient instead of as the star of the dish, you know. So that one, and well, now we founded here in US BEYAZ Technology Solutions LLC, which is the company that bought the assets of NJ John Academy and Jersey Hobby, which are businesses that they were founded 5 years ago here in New Jersey. So two partners and me, we bought this business, and now we are working on it and also using it as a platform for the other drone-related companies, you know.
Mm-hmm. And those are a lot of different businesses that you have going on there. You're very versatile and very talented, I do have to say. Now, where do your companies operate?
Well, in Mexico, Aerospec has operated in 8 countries in 4 different continents. We have done projects in Australia, in China, in Ukraine, well, in Mexico, in Canada, in US. Aerospec, well, in China, my partner Lance Lee, he's from China, so he has some contacts there. We have been to Australia for 2 straight years. We hope we can go again this year for another solar farm inspection. We are now opening the South American market in Chile. We're heading to. We're hoping to start closing contracts soon there. So there's Aerospec. Aerovibe it has operated in Mexico, and now during springtime we're ready to start operating here in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania area, because we are very close to Pennsylvania, which is a very large state. So we can say that in these 2 states we're going to start operating this spring.
Yes, and that's terrific. Now, what inspired you to start all these companies? Had to have started somewhere, right?
Well, yes. Well, I don't know, but my background is I studied international relations. I started working in the renewable energy industry since 2008. I have seen I have seen the boom of these technologies, and I have seen that so many companies they during these boomings they have grow impressive, I think that at that moment I was very young, but I had the opportunity to always work with brilliant people. So I learned a lot about them. I learned a lot about their mentality. So when I saw the opportunity of the drone business, I saw that it has the same. It's gonna boom the same way as in the solar industry in the next few years. So now I think that I have the experience, and also I am completely certain that the use of technology in agriculture is going to be a mainstream thing in the next years. So in Mexico, I had the opportunity of be around all the country developing solar energy and wind farms. So I have been in contact with lots of farmers, lots of people within this business, and I saw I have seen there tons of opportunity, and when we started using this technology in avocado orchards in very how to say very poor lands in Mexico, if you want to call it. Yes. Well, they are not poor at all, but they are very rural. But you can see that even there, that the people they want to learn about technology. They are really interested in learning. So
well, perhaps because they see how it simplifies life.
Yes,
the technology exactly. It helps us to really move forward. So
there is where I saw the opportunity, and And at some point, I was thinking in just in Mexico, but when I had the chance to start a business here in America, then is where I see that I have a bigger potential to grow here instead of in Mexico.
Yes, and we have a question coming in here from one of our viewers. How can we get a drone license for personal use or personal experience in New Jersey and New York?
Okay, so well, normally the FAA they have this Part 107 exam. So it is a 60 questions exam where you have to know several regulations. You have to know about meteorology, about sectional charts, how to read the weather, where are you gonna be flying if it doesn't cross any military route or something, you know. So here at NJ Drone Academy, this drone training center located in Hunterland County. It's just 1 hour away from Manhattan, 1 hour away from Philadelphia. Here, what we do is we do train people to understand all the questions that they are coming in the exam, and not just by doing quizzes, but telling people how the regulations are done and why, you know, we explain them why. So we have 6 hours drone training, and we guarantee that the students, they are gonna pass their exam. If they failed it, we commit with them until they pass it, you know. And also we offer some practice, the piloting command ground school, which in 6 hours we show the student how to use a drone, how to manage an app, how to take cool shots, you know. So those are like the basics training courses that we have at Drone Academy. We have plenty others. We have some trainings for kids, so some courses for kids where we teach them how to assemble a drone, how to build it from nothing to FPV drone, a first-person view drone, and then we also show them how to mount the cameras, how to use the goggles, and then how to fly these drones, which are not the commercial ones. They are a bit more complicated, but the kids, they manage to understand the skeleton of the drone, so they can start thinking about using this technology in several other fields.
Yes, and that's terrific. So I can imagine, you know, with a lot of, you know, countries that you've been to, that you were mentioning before, that there's a lot of different varying business and legal environments in those countries.
Yes, totally.
Which is a given, you know. What are some of the most interesting business and legal environments that you have seen or been to?
Well, in Mexico, we have several different interesting environments, you know. We are used to go to the middle of the desert to do area thermography. So that's a regular thing. Or we drive some miles to do an aerial inspection in southern Mexico, in a wind farm, in a wind energy farm, you know. So this one of those.
Probably was, and what was it about it that was, you know, that made it, you know, the most interesting, you know, environment?
Well, as I'm telling you, back 2 years ago, we went to this big solar farm. It was 5,000 acres solar farm in the middle of the desert. Yeah, that was an 848 megawatt project. It is the largest of the Americas. It's the largest solar energy farm in the Americas. Imagine 2.5 million panels, solar panels. So we went to the closest city, and we were driving around 70 miles a day to get into this project, to fly our drones, to record our videos, to process it. There was one very hard week, working 24/7, because we record the videos, but then we have to upload them and check them and correct them. And then on the other hand, Lance, my partner, he is collecting them and processing them in order that we can deliver the report in a matter of days, So this project, we inspected 2.5 million solar panels in 1 week, and we delivered a report 1 week later. So this is the kind of work we are used to do, under pressure and in rough conditions, because normally in the desert, like you're there and there's no internet, dude. Like you have to solve the problems right there. Like it's not like, oh yeah, and you can call. No, you're in the middle of the desert, and then the solar farm is big, but the office is 7 miles away, and there's no satellite connection. There's no anything. So you have to figure out things there, So those are the regular conditions where we have been working,
Fascinating. Now, a lot of times before these shows, I contact potential guests, and we have an opportunity to talk briefly about some things. And one of the things I thought was very striking and refreshing about our conversations was when you mentioned gratitude in life, and how important gratitude is. How important is gratitude in life, and what can we do to have more of it?
Well, I think that it is, for me, it's an essential part of life, gratitude. Once a friend of mine taught me this tip. Every time that I go to the shower, I thank for 10 different things a day, Okay, a hot shower, or I thank because I am healthy, or because I had a very last dinner last night, or because I had the cell phone, or so every time I try to thank that, I always try to, for example, thank my parents. I'm very grateful with my parents that they always gave me the opportunity to go to the best schools for them, even if they could spend their money in other things. They always thought that they always invested in me and my sister. So that opened me the eyes to see and explore the world, So I had a chance to go to France for some months since I was very young. I did an exchange program there where I met fascinating people from around the globe, and where you are now competing or seeing who the best of the world are, not just the best in Mexico, So and I think that they always support me in all these adventures, and so that's one of my main drives, like to start from, if they started here, then I have to start from here and give my family a best way of living, So that's like my main focus. Always thinking in a long term at some point.
Yes, and I could see how that is very motivating. What motivates you to keep going, to keep innovating?
Well, at some point, one of my best friend asked me like, "Hey, why are you like keep doing, you know?" And at some point, like I have already taken so many commitments that now like just I just can't stop, and you know like I have to do it, you know, like so my motivation is like just do it, you know. And keep going because I think that that now with this pandemic there are so many opportunities that they are like once in a century opportunities, you know. So I want to catch them. I want to be a part of a transition, you know, because I have been calling since March this the new beginning, because perhaps this pandemic can open us the eyes and see that we were doing so many things in so many bad ways that perhaps now we can see and we can start choosing the best way, you know, because we have seen that that we have not done it correctly. So perhaps now it's a chance. Now we're changing era, you know. So that's why I think that it's motivating for me to see that it is now. You know, it's now because it's happening. It's not a thing that is gonna happen. So no, it is happening. So that's a motivation that I have. I think that I can be part of a better world. You know, like sometimes people say I dream of changing the world, and it sometimes it's just a far dream. But when you see that you have some tools and you have some resources and you have some talents and you have some experience, so it starts to make sense. And it's when you say like really, like why not, like, you know, like people
Yes.
they have done it, you know, like, so why not me? So if I can do something to help make a better world, like I would love to do it, you know. Like, yeah.
If you could dream it, why not make it a reality?
Yeah, like totally, like exactly, like
All you need is what you said, the tools, the belief in yourself,
yeah,
and you know, anything is possible.
yeah, definitely.
So moving on to the next topic of conversation, what is the most memorable experience that you've had so far in your career?
Well, I can say that going to Australia was a very interesting milestone in my career. We went there, my partner and me, Lansley and me, for 1 week. And it was we went for a solar energy congress in Sydney. And we were there playing among the best in the world, you know, like being the partners of this global company. And so that it's like, okay, like we are here, you know, we have we have all the, how would say, the arguments enough to be there. So I think that was a very nice experience, going to dinner with these CEOs, with these owners, you know. I think that was a very interesting one.
Yes. And what encourages technological innovation in the world?
Well, saving time and money, you know, because it's the best way that you can describe what does technology do. It saves you time and money, and it's really a good way to teach people. Like nowadays, for example, thanks to technology, you are able to go on YouTube and ask how to, and you can do whatever you want. You can find out whatever you want by going to YouTube. Like now, there are so many tools, so many resources that what you have to do is just integrate them and understand a bit, and then like make it happen. So many new technologies, artificial intelligence, blockchain, satellites. Like there are tons of data out there, so you just have to integrate them and make it happen.
Definitely. But those two factors, saving time and saving money, as well as making life easier, those would probably be at the top of the list then.
Yeah, of course. That's why what I mentioned first, because at the end of the day, time is money, So and time is precious. Time is going. So if you can do a task in a faster way, in a safer way, why don't do it? Also, economically wise, it also makes sense using technology. So the thing is that we have sometimes to change the mindset of the people, to have the enough patience to teach them, not in an arrogant way, but just to let them know that by using technology, lives can be improved in so many ways.
Yes, and thank you for that. What is the most fascinating technological innovation that you've seen in the last few years that's come out or surfaced?
Well, I think that what Elon Musk does every day is just amazing. He doesn't stop. He keeps innovating in one side, in the other one, betting, and he has committed some mistakes, but he always try to go to keep on going, So he has an amazing mentality.
Yes, and now, kind of switching gears, on December 28th of 2020, the FAA and federal regulators issued new rules and sets of rules allowing drones to operate at night and over people.
Yeah.
Also, there's a requirement that every drone now has to have a tracker on it that's connected to the internet at all times. Yeah. So now, a change in the rules, this is going to allow and expand the use of machines for commercial drone deliveries. As we know, there's been companies that have, tried that out. Now, some of the drawbacks or the criticism that has initially come out are that the standards, specifically the remote identification technology, where these machines can be identifiable from the ground, will potentially create security concerns. On one hand, yes, we do want to make the sky safer and have the drones integrated. But on the other hand, when we're doing that, we're opening up, a Pandora's box to a whole, set of other types of issues, concerns, problems, and, potential issues that can arise. Now, according to the former U.S. Secretary of Transportation on December 28th, Elaine Chao made a statement that these final rules carefully address safety, security, and privacy concerns while advancing opportunities for innovation and utilization of drone technologies. Now, previously, many in our audience perhaps may not know, you weren't allowed to fly a drone at nighttime as a, standard, drone operator. And also, you weren't allowed to fly over other people. So now with this change, it's going to be more strict, and people are going to have, more strict compliance and more controls in place. But at the same time, it's also going to create a lot more economic opportunity, and it's a very fast-growing segment. I think a lot of our audience, has an interest in drones, if they don't already have one. Now, there's 1.7 million drone registrations in the U.S. currently, 203,000 FAA certificated remote pilots. It's a very high number, and I think that number is going to rise, isn't it, with the new requirements?
Yes, totally. You talked about many interesting things. Here, what I can say is that the regulations, they I really applaud the regulations, the last regulations of FAA, because they are promoting the use of drones, but they are also in this very thin line between regulating and having a safe environment, but also promoting the usage of drones. Because as you said, like, there are so many job opportunities within this industry. Most of the people if you want to use your drone commercially, you need to get your FAA Part 107 drone pilot license, which costs you $160. So you can study online. You can really do it in a very easy way. It's very easy to become a drone pilot. It is very cheap to buy a drone. You can buy a very high quality drone for $1,500, $1,500 for a very good machine. This machine that can allow you to do aerial photography, photogrammetry, some inspection, so you can start making money right away with your drone. So it is important to have so many rules, so many regulations, because at some point, what I think is that at some point everybody will have a drone in our pocket. I don't know if you have seen the last drone that DJI launched, the Mini 2. It is a machine that it is like this big, and it has a 4K camera. It has a great stability. It has a 7 miles range. So it's a great machine for $500. So at some point, everybody will be hanging around with a drone, and it is important to regulate the use of them. So that's why it's important to register a drone. So if there's any accident, okay, so at least you know who's the responsible of that. So there is where you can take the risks that you want. Like if you want to operate your drone and take the risk, well, you know that the penalty will be very strict, and if you need to go to jail because you didn't manage to follow the rules and you were flying above people, and then your drone crashed and killed somebody, you have to pay. So that's it. There are regulations, and the regulations that they have to be followed, and they have some. They are there because of several reasons. You see, so But you can't you can't limit the airspace, you know. So you can't go against the technology, because the drone technology will keep improving. So regulations also, they need to keep improving, and that's why it's so important they upgrade the regulations as much as possible, you know.
Great answer, and that's a great explanation, because the laws do have to keep up with the technology.
Yeah, like drone delivery, like you were saying, drone delivery. Drone delivery, it's gonna be a thing of the next years. You know, like
Right.
there are so many companies now raising money and investing money in drone technology, because now it is pretty simple. Like it is like you just need a fly pad. You just need to make a mission. The mission can be done by the satellites, by the maps that are already there. You set the mission. So it's really simple. And nowadays that there are some autonomous drones. They are already moving around by itself. You know, using GPS, using same of the mechanisms as the autonomous vehicles. You know, so. It's a matter of years that this is happening. So better to start regulating, better to start teaching the people about airspace, you know, like which airspace is which, so you can now understand where you can fly, you know, but understanding on a way that you can recognize it in an automatically way, you know, as you follow the traffic signals.
Yes, definitely. Now, we were talking about drone deliveries, and in fact, several companies have already, and institutions have begun using and testing drone deliveries, such as Amazon, Walmart, United Parcel Service. And so they're testing out different concepts, different ideas, how they can make it more efficient. Despite some companies receiving waivers in the last year to test the technology, though, there's still no widespread commercial use. So when will drones be delivering goods and products in mainstream America, such as mail and Amazon orders?
Well, look, indeed, those there were some limitations in the previous FAA circulars. So the idea now is to start working on that on a constant basis. You know, for example, nowadays the most advanced drone delivery companies, they are doing their research in Africa, because Africa, since they don't have so many regulations, they go there. Zipline is a Canadian company that they have been working in Africa doing this test, because here in US it is very complicated to, for example, send a drone 7 miles away because of all the regulations, you know, because imagine how many fields the drone is gonna cross by. So there is the same thing, like this thin line between the use of technology and also the safety of the people, you know. So I think that always safety first. So until the companies that they show that they are capable of going under 0% accident, you know, or as close as that number, then is when FAA will start saying, okay, like okay, you're showing that you are safe enough, so let's work together, you know.
Yes. And now, you know, also we were talking about how the remote tracker feature and how it has to connect to the internet. Google expressed some concern, finding that, you know, opining that because it's going to be possible to see when people are receiving deliveries and from whom, that potentially this creates an opportunity for, thieves or, burglars and robbers to know exactly who's going to be where, who's going to be, and so on one hand, the technology is helping society. On the other hand, there's a new set of challenges that come along with that, along with this technological change and the law that changes to keep up with the technology to make sure we can have structure and order in our society. So,
yes, totally.
Do you think that these new drone laws, though, present a privacy threat to people in the U.S.? Because it seems to me like, these laws are they're great and all, but from a privacy standpoint, to have a major IT company like Google step out there and make their position known like this, that's a pretty strong statement. Does it present a privacy threat to people in the U.S. and people globally?
Yeah, well, yes. Like, what can I say? Like, yeah, like the short answer will be yes. I would love to say no, but it is super complicated to how to say to regulate privacy unless you ban it, but you have already some technology. There's some technology out there already. Satellites, so satellites. There are some satellites that they can see your license plates, So it's the same thing about drones, and here it is like really too complicated to regulate that because now the technology is so abroad that, for example, with a drone, with a zoom camera, you really can, like, if you want to use it for bad purposes, you really can spy super close a person. It's miles away, so how can you regulate it? It's difficult. Also, security, like terrorism talking, it's always a threat to have a drone in the air. So that's why it's so important to have control of who is flying a drone, even if it's the smallest one, because like there are so many negative aspects, but there are so many negative aspects in everything, So I think that that's why FAA has been doing these regulations in so smooth way. And so, but the thing is that it has to make sense, So,
Right.
For example, if you are gonna fly in a residential area, then you need to go to you will have your record at some point, your flights at some point recorded, so they know that you will be there getting this information, So if there's some threat or if there's something, so it's really very complicated when you talk about privacy and drones,
Yes.
I understand the other side. Like I won't tell you no. Like this is a reality. There's people that they can really use drones for bad, like totally.
Right. And I mean, Google's concerns, though, here, it also echoes some other concerns by technology experts. Do you think perhaps maybe a little bit more attention can be given to that privacy aspect to address that? This way, people feel a little bit more safe and secure, and they know that their personal information is, remains private. Do you think that would help perhaps with the public perception if there were to be some work that was done on that or some more focus put on that?
Yes, totally. Of course, and that one important thing is that as soon as somebody raise its head and say, like, I am comfortable with a drone flying over my house, like you have to respect that and then go to a negotiation or something. But I think that it is imperative to give the people their privacy first, So unless you do an essential job, then you can waive that. But otherwise, I think that that could be a way of solving things, hey, dude, I don't like a drone there, so or who was flying there, so perhaps you can give your GPS, your coordinates. So there was a drone flying here, so I want to know who is it, and then ask them to not fly around, or
Certainly.
It's not easy, but again, there's so many technology at service, so it is also possible to by using technology to control that, And if people they don't feel safe because a drone is flying around, this is really a major thing, I won't be living comfortable if I think that somebody is spying on me, or that they are seeing my movements or the movements of my company, So definitely, I think that safety first again.
Yes, and those are great points that you bring up. Now, regarding drones and just kind of getting back to flying drones, what does it take to be a good drone operator?
Discipline. I would say that discipline is stick to the rules, because so many times for every purpose, not just for going shoot a drone video, but if you have to do a solar farm inspection, or if you have to apply some products in a crop field, discipline, because if you have discipline, if you follow the rules, if you have a checklist, if you every time that you launch a drone, you check all of the most important points, check the weather, check this, check that, you are really lowering the risk of an accident by many percentages, So I think that discipline is the best talent in a drone operator.
Excellent. Now, Mr. Escobedo, I know both U.S. and Turkey have some of the most advanced drones on the planet, both for civilian and military use. What is one thing that has impressed you most with U.S. drone technology, and then one thing that's impressed you most with Turkish drone technology?
Okay, I will start with the first question. What I really love about American drone technology is, at least commercially speaking, is the quality of the products. You can really feel the quality of the material, of everything. I think that here in US there are so many standards, so many procedures, that when a company invest in drone technology, they have the resources and they have the mentality to buy the best product, So quality wise, American drones are really excellent for me. I can say that for the spraying drone companies that I know here in US, so definitely quality, quality in the products, in all the process of building a drone. Quality processes, safety, materials. That's what I really like about American drones. Concerning Turkish drones, Here, and you, of course, know this, that Turkey is one of the best countries for military drones, basically because at some point, military talking, nobody wanted to sell you drone technology, so Turkey decided to start developing their own drone technology, and that's why at this moment they really are one of the best countries in the world for military drones. For commercial drones, Turkey has already, I think, that 45,000 drone commercial pilots. So they are also very interesting in the usage of drones for commercial purposes. And here, what I can say about commercial purposes is not just for aerial videography, photography, but also for so many inspections that can be done with drones. You can work on mining, you can work on agriculture, you can work on solar energy farms, in wind energy farms, you can work in seaports, you can collect data in so many ways. One thing that Turkish drones that they are doing last is that the use of artificial intelligence in some drones also. They are being working on autonomous drone deliveries, as you mentioned before. So I think that Turkey can easily convert into one of the top countries in the world developing drone technology. Because at some point, we hear DJI, which is the Chinese, one of the Chinese largest companies. They are 15 years old, so they are not that old. If you think about the car industry, it has already more than 100 years in existence. Drone technology is just booming. It's just starting. It's 15 years old, so there are so many new brands that they can be created.
Well, Mr. Escobedo, there were a lot of topics that we were able to talk about, and there was a lot of topics that I still wanted to cover with you. Before we conclude the show, real quickly, we have a little bit less than a minute here left. What message would you like to send to Turkish Americans and Muslim Americans?
What I can say is that drone industry is booming, and take a look at it, and there are so many opportunities in this industry, for research, for new drone technology, for assembling new drones, for many purposes. So take a dive into drones, and I'm sure that you can start making money in the very near future using these tools.
Mr. Escobedo, thank you so much. And to our audience at home, I'd like to ask you guys to hit the like button and to subscribe. Also, check out the work of Mr. Escobedo, New Jersey Drone Academy. Before we conclude the show, there is a quote from Mustafa Kemal Atatürk that I will ask our audience to ponder. The supreme guide in life is knowledge. Thank you for watching the show. See you next time.
Thank you, everyone.